Get ready to set sail and dive deep into the depths of the ocean, exploring and plundering whatever treasures we may find. But be weary, sailor, the ocean's unforgiving and many sea creatures lurk in the dark depths. How deep will you go? Will you survive? Come aboard if you're with us. The captain just gave his orders. We need to go deeper. Hey guys, Thomas from wisegamer.com here with We Need to Go Deeper, an early access title from Deli Interactive that came out February 8th of this year. You can pick it up on Steam for $9.99 in the link in the description. The story goes that you're a member of a submarine crew, traveling down into the depths of the ocean to explore, plunder, and find whatever you can to aid you in your journey. The deeper you descend, the more dangerous it becomes, but the rewards are even greater. See how far you and your crew can go before you all die due to the monsters of the ocean. We Need to Go Deeper is a roguelike co-op game with 2 to 4 players. Really, if you don't have at least 3, you're going to struggle a little bit in this game, and I'll go into the details of the gameplay so you can see why. You start each game at the top of the ocean, diving down into the first generated biome. These biomes are completely randomly generated each time you start a trip, and they contain different caves to explore, fish and sea creatures that you have to combat, and then sometimes these various obstacle type things that you have to kind of maneuver around too, like vents that push your ship around, or bubbles that will make your ship travel back up higher into the ocean. So you have to basically avoid those, kill the different fish, try to find as many caves as you can, and just get as deep as you can into the ocean. The sub itself has 4 different positions on it. There's a captain that can steer and pilot the vessel, an engineer that controls the power distribution to the sub, a magazine area that contains all the torpedoes that you're going to load into the turret, and then the turret position itself, which is how you fire torpedoes. So technically you only need 2 people, someone kind of like piloting and someone firing and loading the ship themselves. But I mean, really, you're not going to bode very well this way. Over time, there's just too many things that come to attack you. You also have to be able to repair your ship when it gets damaged, and just doing that all at once and trying to jump around is a little bit too much to take. None of these roles are defined to where if you pick it, you're stuck in it at all times. You can switch at any point within the game as well. And the power distribution area engineer is usually the person that does most of the repairs, because you'll set up your power to where you have so much going to shield, so much going to light, so much going to the turret, so much going to your engine power. And then that person doesn't have too much to do but repair and just kind of help out where they can. So it's a really interesting mock-up. Definitely need the co-op. And again, with 2 people, you aren't going to do well. And like I said earlier, you really need at least 3. 1 person to load, 1 person to load and repair things, 1 person to steer, 1 person to take aim on the turret and just constantly defend the ship. So as I mentioned, as you take damage from these different monsters and things like that, the hull does need to be repaired. So too much damage and you get down to 0, you'll die, and at that point you lose the game. And then as you actually start taking damage, at first they're just little dents that show up in your hull, but then eventually there'll actually be holes in the side of your sub that start leaking in water as well. Those can be repaired, the water will eventually dissipate and go away. However, if you start sitting too long below water, you begin to drown, and you'll start dying that way too. So it's a really interesting mechanic. It's kind of a scramble, and the further you go, the more difficult it gets, the more holes start springing leaks. Different creatures can maybe board your ship, and you got to kill them to be able to repair the ship too, and it's really a lot of fun, a lot of craziness, and it gets really difficult and hectic, I guess, as you start going down further. For me, the best experience by far is playing with a full group of people. Having 3 other friends where we were all on Discord talking together, and we all kind of took turns on different stations. That's how we made it the furthest in the game. There's not a huge player base right now, so if you're playing online and you're hoping to just find a random lobby that you can get into, good luck. You really need to have a group of people, and that's kind of a downside right now to the gameplay. Have to have a group because there's no AI or anything like that. To wrap this up, it is a roguelike, so that means is every time you die, you collected coins and things like that along your journey, and you can use those coins to purchase items from the catalog. That catalog includes cosmetic, character attire, from like hats and outfits and things like that, to tools, weapons, and other items that you can use that you found in your previous journeys. So as you go and loot these different caves and plunder them, there's always at least some type of item, maybe a couple items that you can pick up, whether it's a flintlock pistol, a rivet gun that'll help you repair faster, or a wrench that's better at combat, something like that that'll help you out. And you get to use that for your current run, but then you can unlock it in the catalog and select that instead of your initial starting item for future runs. And that's where that roguelike element comes into place. At the bottom of each biome, as you get to that level of depth, basically, there's a boss that you have to fight. These boss battles definitely leave a little bit to be desired right now. They kind of just stick to your sub, and it's more of a scramble of trying to repair everything as fast as possible, while the guy on the turret is just loading and destroying as much as he possibly can. It's more of an Outlast stamina type game rather than a strategic or tactical boss fight at the moment, but again, it's in early access, so we might see a change to that in the future. After you beat the boss, you move into the next biome area, and there's some really cool variation. We are in a volcanic area, a really dark depth area, a few different things like that. And again, the deeper you go, the better the rewards, the more coins you'll find, the more dangerous it gets too. And that's where the difficulty comes from. Now moving into audio-visual, I'm actually going to combine the two sections this time, and really that's because there's not too much to talk about either way here. Overall, I think it's positive. Visually, the game has a really fun art style, a really nice theme that's kind of cohesive, and you can see it throughout the ship design, the artwork in the characters' attires and their face and animations there, the different items and things like that too. And all the characters have kind of a really fun, quirky, hilarious, to be honest, puppet-like form. So they kind of move like their arms and limbs are attached to strings almost, and it's an interesting take that you don't see too often. Again, with the audio portion of it, I mean, the things like the soundtrack's nice, the menu music is nice, the different effects are fine. They're fairly basic, but again, it's perfectly fine for a $10 game to have this level of audio or visual and do well at it. Especially on the visuals, the quirky art style is just really fun and again, kind of hilarious when you get into certain situations. Now moving into replayability, this is where the game absolutely shines, and for a $10 game, I cannot recommend it enough, provided that you have a crew of friends that you can play with regularly. Again, you can't play this game solo, you're not going to find random people, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but the player base is not big enough yet to be able to find random lobbies you can hop into, and playing with your friends, whether it's locally or online on co-op, that's really the way to do it here. It has all the tropes of a typical roguelike, so you set off on as many voyages as you want, loads of unlockable content in the current game, and it just keeps you coming back for more and more, every time trying to plunge deeper and deeper into the ocean. There is going to be eventually some type of ultimate final boss area or final biome that you'll get to, and that's kind of like the end stage, and then you'll reset from there if you haven't died yet. But I mean, even when that happens, it just means that you come back on your next voyage and you unlock more things and try it again. There's so many items that you can unlock in this game already, and with it being in early access, there's actually plans of more content, like other submarine variants, more bosses, more items, more biomes, more outfits to collect. And that just means that there's so much that you can do in this game. There's so many hours you can put into it. And again, as long as you have friends to play with, you're going to keep coming back for more. Some of those items you can't unlock until you actually find them the first time in a trip. So, I mean, there might be more rare items and you might be missing a few out there, and you can go out on more trips to try to do that too if you're trying to get that very specific item. It's really a lot of fun. And with the friends that I have that are playing it right now, I mean, we just have so much fun playing it, so many laughs and so much of a fun time that, I personally don't see myself not putting at least 10 hours into this, if not more. And at $10 for the game, that's only an hour, an hour $1, which is pretty cheap, in my opinion. Now, overall, wrapping everything up here, so the $9.99 game, I have the link down in the description for Steam. It's worth every single penny to me, as long as you have people to play with regularly. If you don't have friends to play with, stay away from the game. And as much as I love this game, I love Delhi Interactive, unfortunately you need to stay away if you do not have friends to play with it, because you will not find people to play with right now. The player base, in my opinion, is just not big enough to be able to play with random people reliably. You have to play on either a local LAN or online and host lobbies. And I mean, the lobbies that I saw when we played, I think there was 3 or 4 of them. All of them were password protected. They were all full. So it was very much like these are just people playing the game together. You aren't going to find random open lobbies to be able to jump into, unfortunately. I can't wait to see where the game goes. It's only been out for about 2 months now, so I mean, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the player base gets bigger so you can get into open lobbies too, and that statement will be mute. But unfortunately right now, again, it's a little bit too small for that to happen. So pick it up with some friends. $10, I mean, the 4 of you can spend $40 total, be able to get into the game, get a full lobby going. You'll have so much fun, and you can keep on playing. So guys, I've been Thomas, aka Wise Gamer from wisegamer.com. Really hope you enjoyed my review. I'll have all my links down in the description for buying the game, following the developer on Twitter, following me on Beam where I was streaming this with some of my friends, and then also a playlist to all the other reviews that I have as well. So thanks again guys, and we'll see you next time.